Hello and welcome to Not a Buffalo, the show where we discuss the science and technology that will save the world. My name's Ben, newly elected by me as a member of the Bentopian Parliament and hoping to join the EU. And joining me is Jack. He spent his weekend fixing a spaceship. So Jack, how did the spaceship repairs go?
Not well. When your spaceship's fictional, it doesn't pay off.
I don't know, I thought you made it to the planet, didn't you?
Do you mean Bentopia? The planet that is also a political entity.
I thought I got shot after I suggested that name, so I thought we were going to go with something else.
No, I like Bentopia. Bentopia's nice.
Okay, so it was just that one mutineer then. We can forget about them and keep with Bentopia. But you know what? I have another question for you, Jack. How have you been sleeping lately?
I've been sleeping okay. I'm not having nightmares. You're having nightmares.
Well, how would you like to have Pikachu-shaped nightmares?
Oh God. Is this about Pikachu Detective? Is that what?
No. In the wake of the enormous success of Pokemon Go from the Pokemon Company, they've decided to create a new game called Pokemon Sleep.
There's nothing terrifying about that name, is there?
It's not being released until 2020, so we don't have many details about it. But basically, you get a fitness tracker equivalent or a sleep tracker, so it can track your sleep, and that somehow will contribute towards the game. So I can only presume they've actually genetically created a drowsy, and it's going to come and eat your dreams and then replace them with adverts for Pokemon merchandise.
I am so uncomfortable with that level of intrusivity into my life. It's not going to be my life because I don't play Pokemon Go, but yeah, that's a bit scary, isn't it?
It is a little bit terrifying, and I think I can't remember where I read it now, but they're going to carry on going, I think, and create. Obviously, I think Pokemon is the most valuable series branding, whatever kind of category it falls into in the world, and they're going to just keep churning it out. And I think they've got plans. They've probably got, Pokemon Pay Your Taxes in the near future in the pipeline. So you don't think you're going to buy the game then?
No. Are you? Are you?
No.
Okay.
No. I very strictly have not given any money to Nintendo for many years.
Okay, so this isn't like a secret piece of sponsoring by Nintendo that you are working in here.
No, but in fact, we've probably mentioned their name enough, though. We're probably going to be visited by what I can only assume is like policemen dressed as Pikachu.
Or Team Rocket.
Or like Secret Service. Or Team Rocket, yeah. Are going to come and get us just for mentioning Nintendo more than 3 times in an episode.
And then fail to arrest us.
I don't know, if they have Pikachu-powered tasers, that could be terrifying as well.
No, but Pikachu doesn't side with Team Rocket. Pikachu sides with Ash. He'll come rescue us. It's Mew who's on their side.
Mew?
Yeah. Mew? Meowth. Not Mew.
There you go.
Yeah, if Mew was on... Yeah, man. Yeah, my Pokemon knowledge is a little rusty.
Mine isn't, and that's probably quite sad. Probably shouldn't know as much about Pokemon as I do. I can still sing the theme tune.
Everyone can still sing the theme tune.
Oh, okay. I feel better.
Everybody who grew up in our age group can still remember and sing the theme tune. I guarantee you that.
I really want to test that. You know what? Next time I'm up on stage for whatever reason, I'm just going to go, I want to be the very best, and just see how much of a response I get.
I cannot see any way this can go wrong. I'm kind of surprised you've never done that, because you are on stage like a relatively high amount.
I suppose I've still been taking it seriously enough. I have genuinely, I think it was a Halloween party, and a friend and I did just burst out into singing it and sang the entire thing.
Yeah.
But I've never done it on like a public stage, but my time will come. My time will come. But I digress anyway. That was my first story, is that Nintendo want to advertise to you in this. I mean, they want to create they've created a new sleeping game, Pokemon Sleep.
That will not steal your soul.
Hopefully not. But yeah, that's my first story. So what's your first story for us today, Jack? Have you got any interesting stories you want to share with us?
Yeah, so keeping with the theme of stories which are sort of on message for the podcast in science that will save the world, and sort of a bit out there as well, there's been a breakthrough in AI research. Basically what they've done is they've combined 2 existing types of AI in a new way. So you may remember we talked about neural networks before. They're
forcing the AI to breed now?
Yeah, let's go with that. In the sense that this offspring of these 2 types of AI is going to have attributes of both, then yeah, sure, they're breeding. But it's a hybrid between neural network AI and symbolic learning technology is called Neurosymbolic Concept Learner, or NSCL.
And what does the breakthrough mean then to combine a symbolic AI with the neural network?
Basically, it gives these two types of AI, symbolic and neural net. They tend to be also different fields. So the researchers they aren't often put in a situation where they have to work together. So what this means on a practical level is that researchers are going to have to, bury any hatchets they have and start a little bit of the old collab.
So what are they going to use this new AI for? What's the purpose of it?
More learning. It won a prize for image recognition, I think it was. And it's also, I think, already won the Turing Award, which is kind of the equivalent of the Nobel Prize in computer science. Effectively, it's an image learner, but it's quite powerful to have those two fields able to combine. That's why it's a breakthrough, because it's more like Lennon and McCartney meeting. It's like they were still powerfully good musicians beforehand, but when they met, they were like, we can be the Beatles and Liverpudlian. Whereas this is a case of these two research fields can be together and American.
Well, you know what we've just been able to do with facial recognition technology?
Is this a segue?
It is a segue. It's a fantastic segue.
You're so good at segues. How are you this good at segues?
But you know what we can now recognize using facial recognition technology? Pandas.
Well, that's a skill that's going to go obsolete pretty soon, isn't it?
Well, that's the point. It's there to try and help conservationists identify individual pandas and therefore keep a better track of them and kind of be able to gather more data on specific individual animals. And they've developed it in China, of course, where something like 80% of the world's pandas still live.
And where all of them are owned.
Yeah. And 80%, more than 80% of the world's wild pandas live in Sichuan, with the rest in Shanxi and Gansu. And then there's 548. I also apologise for my terrible Chinese pronunciation there. And there are about 548 giant pandas in captivity globally. But yeah, they've now been able to recognise, they can now use this facial recognition technology for pandas, and they're going to spend about $1.6 billion to create a new kind of national park that's going to be 3 times the size of Yellowstone National Park.
Wow.
To link up and encourage breeding. Yeah.
I always forget how vast China is.
The thing that really amazes me about China is it's got 1.4 billion people now, but if you look at if you just zoom in on it on Google Maps, something like 80 or 90% of the population is in the eastern side. Like it's just all massive cities and roads, and then 2/3 of the country are just it looks fairly empty.
Yeah.
And is huge. It's the second biggest country by landmass if you don't include lakes and rivers. If you include lakes and rivers, then it's Canada. But if you look at just land, not lakes and rivers, then it's China.
That's really interesting. I'd never thought of it that way. That's really cool.
Yeah. Random fact that I remember vaguely from a pub quiz probably a while ago. It might not even be true. It was a pub quiz where I got that from. So please fact check us, listeners. Otherwise, we're going to get yelled at by someone.
All 5 of you. All 5 of you fact-checking listeners.
Anyway, so what do you think of pandas? I mean, obviously they are classed as charismatic megafauna. They are China's...
I'm sorry, they're classed as charismatic?
Charismatic megafauna.
You mean when they appear on stage, or just, when they're in the bath?
No, so it's a term that conservationists and ecologists use to describe things like polar bears and...
they mean cute, don't they? They mean cute.
Well, not necessarily cute, but more the stuff that people care about. I mean, if you say, we need to save, the poisonous dung beetle, then no one's going to care. But if you say we need to save the white rhinos or the baby elephants, then everyone's going to go, okay, we can get behind that. But yeah, so they're kind of the animals they're poster child animals that you use in order to try and raise awareness and raise money. So the panda is obviously probably the best well-known one, I'd say. I did listen to another podcast about charismatic megafauna, actually, and I can't remember whether there was any kind of categorization for it.
That's just what people like, isn't it?
Yeah, there is kind of like a list of what they do class as it just based on what's already out there in the cultural knowledge. So things like polar bears and... I did a little bit of reading up on pandas, and they are stupid creatures. Maybe not intelligence wise, but they are designed to be carnivores. Like they've evolved to be carnivores, but for some reason started eating bamboo, and now they only eat bamboo, but their system is still designed to eat meat, which they don't eat. So they need to. That's why they need to spend like 19 hours a day eating bamboo, and it gives them barely any nutrition. Like 90% of it just goes completely to waste, and it also kills their sex drive, and that's why they're endangered. Like, no one hunted them because look at them, they're cute. No, people probably did hunt.
I bet you people hunted them.
But they've genuinely, they're in so much trouble because they are evolutionary stupid. Like, I think trying to save them it's great. Like, I'm all for biodiversity and trying to save them. They're very cute animals, but they're doing everything to try and wipe themselves out. So, I mean,
yeah, you might as well save something that cares, right?
They will probably fairly soon evolve the ability to just throw themselves off cliffs. Yeah, exactly. You should save something that cares. Pandas do not care. So that's my panda story, and the fact that China is spending an inordinate amount of money on facial recognition research for pandas and making them a giant habitat that they're just going to probably not use because they're not going to breed with each other because, as you said, they're notoriously picky and have no sex drive. Daft creatures. But anyway, have you got any more stories for us? I need to teach you the way of the segue, so you can just kind of butt in and learn the segue.
Yeah, I should segue. I can segue from pandas. So you know the way pandas have probably been loaned to Philadelphia Zoo, and how it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And how that sun is usually also shining on the state of Illinois at the same time as it's shining on the city of Philadelphia.
I mean, you know, all those coal mines that Trump reopened, they're throwing a lot of smog and stuff into the air. Maybe it's going to be permanently nighttime.
I thought you were just going to say that, you know, they're reopening the coal mines because they just can't tell the difference between upstairs and downstairs. And upstairs and downstairs being technical coal mining terms. And if they're not, write in. But yeah, so in the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, I'm probably saying that wrong. Urbana-Champaign? Something like that.
Urbane-Champaign?
Urbane-Champaign. That does sound vaguely suggestive, doesn't it? Urbane-Champaign.
It does a little bit, but I don't quite know what it's suggesting.
Me neither. Do you think maybe we should just open a bar called Urbane-Champaign, which is both urbane and serve champagne?
Just to see what kind of a characters attracts, to answer the question. Like, who's going to walk in and then suddenly a load of army guys walk in? It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm imagining it as a sort of, you know, an experiment that we do, which bankrupts both of us. But yeah, so researchers at University, see above, have discovered a new way of creating artificial photosynthesis. And they use gold to turn CO2 into liquid fuel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, isn't it? They've developed a new way of achieving artificial photosynthesis and producing high-energy hydrocarbons by leveraging electron-rich gold nanoparticles as a catalyst again, and it doesn't require chlorophyll.
That's fantastic. And do you know what would really help is if they could speed up that chemical reaction by 10,000 times.
That's an interesting way to start a segue, but let's go with it. Okay.
So a team of researchers from the University of Minnesota and the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Is the H silent?
I've no idea. I just like the way it would sound without the H.
You like dropping the H. Okay. Of Massachusetts Amherst has discovered
in Yorkshire.
Technology. In Yorkshire. Everything sounds better in Yorkshire.
Everything happens in Yorkshire.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, they found a way that can speed up chemical reactions 10,000 times faster than the current reaction rate limit.
That's cool.
To give you the kind of context on this, and I am going to read a little bit because... but anyway, a catalyst is, I think we all know, is used to speed up reactions. But it's limited. But it can only go as fast as permitted by what is called the Sabatier's principle. So it's kind of often called the Goldilocks principle of catalysis because the best catalyst kind of gets the perfect balance right between the two parts of a chemical. But basically what they've done, and it's this was a project funded by the US Department of Energy, is found that they could basically break the speed limit by applying waves to the catalyst to create an oscillating catalyst instead. So it has a top and a bottom and allows both parts of the chemical reaction to occur independently at different speeds. So one isn't slowing down
that's clever.
The other. Yeah. So, and it creates a resonance essentially. And when I read it, I was like, okay, well, surely then, you know, speeding up a chemical reaction by 5 times would be pretty good, and they managed to, this apparently helps speed it up to 10,000 times. And I think my reading is correct that it's not for all reactions, and it won't speed all reactions up, and it won't speed up everything by 10,000 times. But yeah, it can be used in fertilizers, in foods, in fuels, in plastics, and in more. And hopefully, again, I've actually not they don't really go into what the environmental benefits of this will be, but obviously being able to create those things a lot faster will mean we can create them a lot more efficiently with a lot less energy input and everything, hopefully. So yeah, I thought that was a nice, really, really good story to kind of highlight, again, another technology that could help save the world.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But yeah, so that I think is a nice story. But do you have another story for us, Jack?
No, that was all of my stories. Did you have any more? Do you have a segue to it?
So that previous research was funded by the US Department of Energy, which...
I love how quick you are with this. This is so good.
And the US Department of Energy has also looked into helping the US Army. And I'm not sure they should, because the head of the Army Corps of Engineers has just asked Congress in the US for $778 million so that they can stop Asian carp getting into the Great Lakes. That's right, they're spending nearly $1 billion fighting fish.
The military are doing this.
Yep, the Army Corps of Engineers.
That military spending budget really does cover everything for the US, doesn't it?
It really did. It really does. And so Lieutenant General Todd, and yes, I am going to say Lieutenant.
Was he alone when he was asking this? Was he on his Todd?
Is that common slang around the world, or is that just a British thing?
I think that's explicitly a London thing.
Oh, okay. So they're going to spend $778 million installing defences, including noisemakers, electric cables, and other devices, in the hope they will prevent the Asian carp from reaching the Great Lakes.
Are they endangering some other fish?
That's why I thought it was just a funny story overall, but it is actually a fairly serious issue. You know, it is worth spending the money. Asian carp they are an invasive species, and they tend to destroy the food sources and kill off every other fish, because they seem to I can't remember quite what their food source is, but they basically eat all of it, and all the other fish die off. And obviously if it gets into the Great Lakes, that will destroy a $7 billion fishing industry. And
are Asian carp tasty?
I think so. I think they can eat them, but I think just because they're an invasive species, they have no natural predators, they breed very rapidly and take over all the food, which allows them to breed even quicker. So and I also think that they want to protect the biodiversity of the existing Great Lakes as well. Of course.
I'm totally with you on that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I just love the fact that they've had to deploy the army, and they're spending $1 billion on noisemakers and electric cables. So yeah, I mean, that is, I suppose it's still a nice story that they're protecting the biodiversity of the Great Lakes and taking it very seriously, and obviously protecting the fishing industry as well. But it is quite funny that they brought in the army to fight some fish. Have you ever seen? I've never actually seen it, but have you ever seen? It's like I kind of had the image of a zombie film, of just like all the soldiers standing there on the shores, and then suddenly like everything goes dark, and then these fish just start like jumping out of the water and going back in, and jumping out and going in, and kind of coming towards them, and then they're all just suddenly it's like the rabbit from Monty Python, they all just leap up and start attacking the soldiers.
No, I have no idea. Do Asian carp jump? Is that a thing?
I mean, there's a fairly good picture here of them jumping, but they have been, according to the picture, they've been jolted by an electric current. They might not jump naturally, but they do.
Why were they photographing this?
I don't know. Presumably to show that it was working.
Oh wow.
I think it's the most efficient way to get a lot of them, or to at least, because you lay down electric cables, and it obviously electrifies all the water and keeps them away, and is just fairly effective. I think if they were trying to like get the soldiers to shoot each individual fish, they'd probably spend a lot of lead into the water and not hit very.
They are
many
not
things.
the most attractive looking fish, are they?
Not.
They look sort of upside
really.
Down.
They are ugly looking fish for sure. If you follow us on Twitter as well, then we will. I frequently tweet some of the articles that we've been talking about during the last episode. If you're following the Not a Butterfly Twitter, it's almost certainly me. Jack did tweet once when he saw the word podcasty, and we were in the Czech Republic.
This is true.
So, but anyway, that's about all from me. Is there anything else you wanted to cover, Jack?
No, I think that's everything. Thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe to the show to never miss an episode, and rate and review us wherever you have the power to do so. If you'd like to get in touch, we are at Not a Buffalo Pod on Twitter, Not a Buffalo Podcast on Facebook, or contact us through the website notabuffalo.wordpress.com. Bye.